10 Down WJ presents Fractured Bonds. In a small suburban neighborhood, where the houses were painted in pastel colors and gardens bloomed with the vibrancy of summer, lived Joan and Nana. They had built a life full of love, laughter, and the occasional squabble. Joan, with her nurturing spirit, and Nana, with his steady presence, were parents to two boys, Jariah and Adonijah, who were navigating the turbulent waters of adolescence. Jariah, the younger of the two, was studious and introspective. He often found solace in books, dreaming of a future where he could escape the small confines of his upbringing. Adonijah, on the other hand, was a firebrand, bursting with energy and a desire to assert himself. He wore his emotions on his sleeve, his bravado often masking insecurities that he refused to acknowledge. Lately, the boys had been feeling the weight of peer pressure as they entered their high school years. The allure of fitting in was intoxicating, and with it came the desire to adopt the latest trends, earrings being at the top of their list. However, Joan and Nana had made it clear, you boys are underage and still in school. You cannot have earrings. Focus on your education first. But the world outside their home was relentless. At school, Jariah and Adonijah faced a barrage of teasing and exclusion for their decision to abide by their parents' rules. The boys' classmates, who had already embraced the trend, seemed to revel in their disdain. You guys are such losers, one of the boys in the cafeteria sneered, flicking his own shiny earrings as if they were trophies. That was all it took. In a moment of rebellion fueled by insecurity, Jariah and Adonijah made the ill-fated decision to pierce their ears. Adonijah, with his characteristic impulsiveness, dragged Jariah along with him, insisting that they needed to assert their identities, even if it meant defying their parents. The two boys returned home, feeling a mix of exhilaration and dread. They were caught between the thrill of their new look and the nagging voice of guilt that whispered of their disobedience. When Joan and Nana discovered the earrings, the atmosphere in the house shifted instantly. Jariah, Adonijah, we need to talk, Nana's voice boomed, firm yet calm. The boys shuffled into the living room, the weight of their secret now laid bare. Do you understand why we said no to earrings? Nana asked, his voice steady. It's not about control, it's about respect and focus on your future. You're still in school, and your priorities should be different. Jariah, feeling the guilt wash over him, nodded silently, the earrings dangling from his ears now feeling like chains. I'm sorry, Nana, he muttered. I'll take them out. Adonijah, however, was not ready to comply. Fuck this. You're always trying to tell us what to do. We can't have anything. You don't let us do nothing. His words hung in the air, charged with defiance and frustration. Nana's expression darkened. Adonijah, that language is unacceptable. You need to learn respect for your elders. But Adonijah was lost in his rage, feeling as though he was fighting for his identity and autonomy. In a moment of blind fury, he lashed out, his fist connecting with Nana's face with a sickening crunch. The room fell silent. Jariah's eyes widened in horror. Oh shit, what did you just do, man? He exclaimed, frozen in disbelief as Nana stumbled back, clutching his nose, blood seeping through his fingers. Adonijah's anger evaporated as quickly as it had ignited, leaving behind a stark realization of what he had just done. I didn't mean to, he stammered, his bravado replaced with shock. Nana, struggling to regain his composure, looked at Adonijah with a mix of disappointment and sorrow. You've crossed a line, son. Violence is never the answer. Jariah rushed to Nana's side, his heart racing. I'm so sorry. I didn't think he would actually hit you. Adonijah was still caught up in his emotions, feeling cornered by his own actions. He needed to calm down, to process the whirlwind of feelings that had led him to this moment. As time passed, the tension in the house thickened. Joan, who had been in the kitchen during the confrontation, entered to find Nana nursing his bleeding nose and Jariah trying to console Adonijah, who was now visibly shaken. What happened? She asked, her eyes darting from Nana to the boys. Adonijah hit me, Nana replied, his voice strained. And I think we need to talk about this as a family. Later that evening, Joan sent an email to the boy's biological father, seeking his contact information. Her intention was to inform him of the events that had transpired, but her approach was layered with unnecessary pleasantries. Are you the one who's been trying to contact me through Chris? She began, wanting to feel important in the conversation. No, the biological father replied. Well, how did you get my number? She pressed. You sent me an email requesting my information, he responded, his tone flat. Joan felt flustered but pressed on. I didn't know who was calling because the boy's mother has been trying to get in contact too. Her rambling, fueled by insecurity, veered off course, leading to a waste of time. Now, let's address why you called, he said, cutting through the fluff. Joan took a deep breath and recounted the incident between Adonijah and Nana, her voice tinged with concern. But what stood out the most was that Adonijah has expressed interest in joining the army, and I worry that these kinds of actions could derail their future. The biological father listened, absorbing her words. Is it possible for me to see them or talk with them? He asked, his voice steady. Joan hesitated. They don't want to see you nor their mother, she replied, her tone defensive. I'm just trying to get you up to date with what's going on. The biological father felt a pang of sadness at her words. I understand, but it's been almost 2 years since I've seen them. I'd like a chance to be part of their lives again. Joan's response was defensive, laced with a hint of pride. They're doing well here. I just want to make sure they don't miss out on anything by returning to you. In that moment, the biological father knew that Joan's approach was not just about the boys, it was also about her own insecurities and need to assert dominance over their lives. He chose to respond with grace. May God have mercy, he said softly, I bless and don't curse. Vengeance is the Lord's, and he will repay. Days turned into weeks, and the household began to heal from the rift caused by the confrontation. Jeriah and Adonijah were forced to confront the consequences of their actions. The boys' relationship with Nana had suffered a significant blow, and both were filled with remorse. Jeriah, who had taken off his earrings, became the voice of reason. Adonijah, you can't just let your feelings control you like that. You need to think before you act. We're better than this. Adonijah struggled with his emotions. He had always been the fighter, the one who refused to back down. But now he was faced with the reality that his actions had consequences, and the price was higher than he had anticipated. I know I messed up, he admitted one evening, sitting on the porch with Jeriah. But I just wanted to feel like I had some control over my life. It's like everyone is always telling us what to do. Jeriah nodded, understanding the pressure that came with their age. I get it, but we have to find better ways to express ourselves. Fighting isn't the answer. As the weeks passed, Joan and Nana also began to reflect on their parenting style. They understood that while rules and boundaries were essential, open communication and understanding were equally important. One evening, after a long day, Joan approached Adonijah. Can we talk? She asked gently. Adonijah, still wary of her, nodded. I guess. I know things have been tough, she began. But I want you to know that I care about you and your future. I don't want to control you, I want to guide you. Adonijah felt a flicker of warmth at her words. I just want to be respected, he replied, his voice softer. You were respected, Joan assured him. But respect goes both ways. We want to help you make the right choices for your future. That's why we set rules. But maybe we can also listen to you more. Adonijah contemplated her words. Okay, I can work on that. In the following weeks, communication between the boys and their parents improved. Joan and Nana worked on creating an environment where Jeriah and Adonijah felt heard and valued. They talked openly about their dreams, fears, and the pressures they faced. Adonijah still grappled with his anger and frustration, but he began to channel those feelings into more productive outlets, joining a local boxing club where he could learn discipline and control. Jeriah found solace in writing, documenting his experiences, and using his words as a way to express himself. He even began to help Adonijah with schoolwork, bridging gaps that had once seemed insurmountable. Months later, when the biological father reached out again, it felt like the right moment. Joan, having reflected on her approach, decided to respond differently. Hi, she began in her email, I hope this message finds you well. The boys have been doing well, and I think it's time for a conversation about their future and your role in it. She felt a sense of relief as she hit send, realizing that vulnerability and openness were more powerful than pride and defensiveness. In the end, fractured bonds, became a story of growth, of parents learning to balance rules with understanding, and of boys learning to navigate their identities amidst the chaos of adolescence. Through their struggles, they discovered that love, communication, and forgiveness could mend even the most fractured of bonds. 10 Down WJ, where creativity meets impact.